Now we study today the TS of testis. So inside the testis what found? LS of testis we learned in the last video. Now here we will study the TS of testis. Now this testis TS of testis we will discuss. So testis internally consists of many seminiferous tubules. In the last video, while we were learning the LS of testis, means longitudinal section, we learned that the testis consist of many testicular lobules, and each testicular lobule contain 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. So in the transverse section we can see many seminiferous tubules in each testis. There are about 500 seminiferous tubules found in each testis. So these are the seminiferous tubules. Each seminiferous tubule is lined by germinal epithelium. This is the cells of the germinal epithelium. So each testis lined by this seminiferous tubule, and each seminiferous tubule is lined by germinal epithelium. The cells of germinal epitheliums are two types. There are two types of cells in the germinal epithelium. Some are called the primary germ cells. These are the primary germ cells. Beside, there are also a large pyramid-shaped cells found, that is called the Sertoli cells. So in the germinal epithelium, there are two types of cells, that is the primary germ cells and Sertoli cells. Primary germ cells divide to form the spermatozoa, while Sertoli cells provide nourishment or nutrition to the germ cells or to the spermatozoa during development. So Sertoli cell is responsible to provide nourishment to the germ cells, while the primary germs divide to form the spermatozoa. So during spermatogenesis, these germ cells divide many times by mitotic division to form the many spermatogonia. Then spermatogonia grows to form the primary spermatocytes. Then primary spermatocytes divides by meiosis to form the secondary spermatocytes, and then divide to form the spermatids, and then spermatids changes into the spermatozoa. So each seminiferous tubule filled with the many spermatogonia, spermatocytes and spermatozoa. Now these seminiferous tubules are held together by connective tissue. Around these seminiferous tubules there are the connective tissue, because tunica albuginea that we learned that covers the testis made of the connective tissue. So there are many connective tissue that found around this seminiferous tubules. And now in the connective tissue blood vessels are found. बॉडी में जहाँ भी कनेक्टिव टिश्यू होगा ब्लड वेसल्स जरूर होगा, ब्लड वेसल्स आर फाउंड. But beside this, in the connective tissue there are a special type of group of cells found. These special type of group of cells are called the interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Interstitial cells or Leydig cells we say. These interstitial cells or Leydig cells are responsible for the production of male sex hormone या androgens या कहें testosterone. So this is the function. So this is the TS of testis. So inside the testis there are many seminiferous tubules found that held together by connective tissue. In the connective tissue there is the blood vessels, and each seminiferous tubule is lined by germinal epithelium having two types of cells, that is the germ cells and Sertoli cells. Germ cells divide to form the spermatozoa or male gamete, and the Sertoli cell provide nourishment. So this is the TS of testis. So now we studied in last video, studied the male reproductive system, then we studied the LS of testis, and now here we studied the TS of testis. Now we study the spermatogenesis process in human being, means how spermatogenesis occurs. So now you see this diagram. Now this is the diagram you can see here. Now this is the germinal epithelium here. This is the part of seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule का एक part है ये. This is the small part of seminiferous tubule that showing the spermatogenesis. Now in the germinal epithelium lined by the primary germ cells, ये seminiferous tubules are lined by the germ cells and the Sertoli cells. So this is one Sertoli cell. Here is this is the one Sertoli cell, and now these are the germ cells which divide to forms the many spermatogonia. These are the spermatogonia, and now the spermatogonia grows to forms the primary spermatocytes. This is the primary spermatocytes, and now this primary spermatocytes starts the division, meiosis division, and by the first meiosis it forms the secondary spermatocytes, and again these secondary spermatocytes by second meiosis forms the spermatids, and now these spermatids now transform or differentiated to forms the spermatozoa. But for this differentiation, these spermatids, the head of these spermatids must be connected with the Sertoli cells, because Sertoli cells provide nourishment as well as it produces the spermatogenic factors that is responsible to change the spermatids into a spermatozoa. So the head of these spermatids must be attached with the Sertoli cells. So there are many functions of the Sertoli cells. First of all, they provide nourishment as well as it provides the factor which are responsible for the differentiation of spermatids into a spermatozoa. The Sertoli cells also produce the androgen binding protein. So androgen binding protein now bind with the testosterone and increases the concentration of testosterone in the seminiferous tubules or in the testis. That is also that testosterone also stimulates the spermatogenesis process. So there are different functions of the Sertoli cells, and the function of Sertoli cells is controlled by the FSH hormone, means the follicle stimulating hormone that produced from the pituitary gland, and the secretion of male sex hormone from the Leydig cells, that is testosterone from the Leydig cell, is under the influence of LH hormone, luteinizing hormone from the pituitary gland, anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So that's why the LH of anterior pituitary is also called interstitial cell stimulating hormone, because the LH hormone or luteinizing hormone that produced from the pituitary gland stimulate the interstitial cells or Leydig cells to produce the testosterone, and testosterone hormone also helps in stimulate for spermatogenesis. Testosterone also responsible for the development of secondary sex organs and the secondary sexual characters in the male. So Sertoli cells provide the site for the attachment of this primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes, spermatids, and so provides the site for attachment as well as provide nourishment. The Sertoli cells also produce the spermatogenic factors that helps in the spermatogenesis. It also produces the androgen binding protein that binds the testosterone to increase the concentration of testosterone, and testosterone responsible for the stimulate the spermatogenesis. So there are many functions of the Sertoli cells that we will study in last video also. So here we seen that these are the germ cells, this is the Sertoli cells, and these are the germ cells divide by mitosis to form many spermatogonia. Spermatogonia grows to form primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes divide by first meiosis to form secondary spermatocytes. Then secondary spermatocytes divide by second meiosis to form the spermatids, and then spermatids transform or differentiated to form the spermatozoa, and this process is called spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? The differentiation of spermatids into a spermatozoa. And for this process, for this differentiation, the head of spermatids must be connected with the Sertoli cells, because it produces the many factors that helps in this differentiation. And after differentiation, when the spermatids differentiated into a spermatozoa, means when the spermiogenesis completed, now the spermatozoa release from the or separated from the Sertoli cells and comes out from the seminiferous tubule. This process is called spermiation. So thank you.